Family leaves me with an empty bag of venison jerky. So on today's episode of 10,000 Drakes, I'm going to go through my famous jerky recipe. So this bag here is from my good friend Ben. He dropped off a whole bunch of deer trimmings. We're going to go through, and it's been thawing out for 2 days now. We're going to go through and take out enough to fill an 8 by 12 inch pan. A lot of ums here. Did you start it? What do you do? You have to hit play. You have to say start. Like, all right, so I like to take, and I think this is some nice clean meat right here, but I will go through and I will cut every little extra piece of silver skin or fat off of it that I can. If I get a piece that's already nice and fresh, I'm going to take it and I'm going to go just nice, thin slices. I don't like jerky that all looks the same, so I like to do irregular pieces. And I like to try to keep it thin so that the marinade gets into the meat really well. So as you're filleting along, sometimes it's kind of hard, but you'll get, it's almost like, it's like a fish. We're going to go ahead and we're going to fillet this out, and it'll all come out nice and easy. Boom, right down that silver skin. Get that, throwing that away. I don't want any of that in my jerky because that way you're not peeling it out of your teeth later on. All right, so we got everything all chopped up and into our little glass pan to marinate. And now we are going to go through. I don't really have any specific measurements. I just kind of go by feel. And eventually we're going to mix it all in there. And then top it off with a beer to get it all mixed up good. We got all of our meat in here. We got all of our marinade ready to go. We're going to just give it a quick stir and get it all nice and mixed up. The last thing we're going to add is a little bit of beer. Today it's Coors Light. To add a little bit of alcohol to our mix and to spread it around a little bit. The alcohol burns off, obviously, through cooking. Okay, have a great day. Marinade's ready to go. We're going to put it in the fridge for 48 hours. Okay, after 24 hours, you can take it out, and we're just going to give it a good mix, and then we're going to put it in for another 24 hours. Make sure that marinade gets well into all of our meat. It's been 48 hours. We're going to take this marinade out and we're going to get her on the dehydrator. Alright, after you got your marinade for 48 hours, I'm going to put it on here for about 8 hours. I got the super old-fashioned. It's a Mr. Coffee dehydrator, and it works really well. I got this from my great friend Matt. About 8 hours. I'm going to take her with it. I'm going to come in and out. I got a bunch of different stacked up layers. We'll put it on there. We'll show you the finished product in a little. Alright, as you're cooking the jerky, you want to flip it, and this is some stuff that was on the top. I'm putting it on a lower level. I got a few different levels here. I'm just going to keep rotating through until final product. Half gone bag because my kids already got into it, and it is delicious.
Today I'm going to be making some cheesy pheasant sandwiches. So the first step is to take your pheasant and then fillet the breasts off of the bone, so you have the boneless, skinless breast meat. And I'll show you that in a little bit. I have the pheasant breasts all kind of filleted out here, and I'm going to throw them in the pan in just a minute, and I'm just going to brown them. So not cook them all the way through, just brown them, and then they'll go in the crock pot. Alright, I throw a little onion in there as well. And again, I'm just going to brown them here in a little bit of oil. And make sure they're brown on both sides. They're definitely not going to be cooked all the way through. And then they'll head into the crock pot. There's the finished product. That's about what it should look like. And you got it just lightly browned on both sides. I like to cook it in the crock pot with enough chicken broth to cover the breasts. You have to cook it on low heat, probably about 4 to 6 hours until it shreds apart nicely. So you have to check it after about 4 hours and see how it is. And then obviously once you can shred it apart, excuse me, then you're in business. You'll have to drain some of the juice out of there as we add the other ingredients for cheesy pheasant sandwiches. This is what it looks like all shredded up. It took about 5 to 5.5 hours of cooking in the crock pot on low until it fell apart. And then just pull it apart with 2 forks and leave about a half cup of broth in the crock pot. Then you add the rest of the ingredients to it. And I'll show you those in a second. Here's our final ingredients. We got about 4 ounces of cream cheese, about a cup of cheddar cheese, a 1/4 cup of sour cream, and about a half a bag of Lipton onion soup mix. We're going to mix it into the crock pot. If it gets a little too dry, you can add a little bit more broth, or you could also put some cream of mushroom soup in there, depending upon what kind of consistency you want. So I'm going to go ahead and dump this in here, and I'll show you what it looks like as a final product. I would definitely mix the ingredients individually, because it makes it much easier to stir it in. And once you have it stirred in, the cheese will take the longest to melt, obviously. So you're going to want to let it sit for probably about another half hour on low, stirring occasionally to get the right kind of consistency. Like I said, you could add cream of mushroom soup if you want. You could also add a little bit more broth if you want it to be a little more runny. Here's the finished product. That's about the consistency that I like. Again, you can add a little broth to it if you want to thin it out a little bit. Throw it on a sandwich here. I would say it probably makes about a dozen sandwiches or so. Nice to put in the crock pot, go out hunting, and come back and be able to eat a nice warm sandwich. Enjoy.